Okay, she
And
is bloodied.
Pushed absolutely nowhere.
She's shoved violently in her space, but she's unable to be pushed out of the pool of evil.
Mm-hmm.
Can we call physics and see if that shove breaks victorless?
Actually, like, could I well, no, it's too late now, but I could have shot Victor.
If you'd shot Victor, you could have shoved him out of the grapple, yeah.
Right. I didn't think about that. Maybe next round, if you're still there, Victor, I'll shoot you.
Victor, if you're very lucky, next turn, Jeannie will shoot you.
You've been a very good boy for
I see how this
Christmas.
is going.
Is that it for Jeannie?
That is it for Genie.
Who's next?
White token with purple token on deck.
All right, let's get strength saving throws.
Edmont did a lot better this time.
I'm secure, right?
Who's underneath the ship? Edmont and...
I'm floating above the ship.
You're floating above it. Okay, so Edmont, you ducked underneath it.
I got a 10.
You can
so
make
I think
this
I
save
failed.
at advantage since you're...
Am I
I
still
got a
rolling
15.
this at advantage? For being inside the ship?
Yes.
What's the DC, Brooklyn?
Okay.
DC was 12.
Pass, just barely.
Victor failed it, but he's restrained?
You're not strained, you're just grappled, so you're now prone and grappled.
Evie's prone.
Okay. Nobody failed that I rolled for.
Okay.
Kind of wish Orson had failed, but he didn't.
He did not. And then who's next? Excuse me.
Let's see. Next up is purple with Evie on deck.
Okay.
I guess it could have been worse, because Orson is probably the second, or he's definitely on the dangerous side, on the more dangerous side. But I would honestly say I'm very glad that this didn't happen to Ekon, because he would have immediately dropped like 16 fireballs on top of the brown note.
I got 3 of you in a line here. That's really convenient. If I can get a dexterity saving throw. Jeannie, you automatically fail this. I need one from Ekon and Edmont. And Orson makes it at advantage.
Oh.
This is DC 16.
Nope.
Orson passes.
28 points of thunder damage from the screen.
Pass,
Ah,
just barely.
Jeannie, you have no way to dodge it as it permeates the walls of the ship and shakes it asunder. The ship is in dire straits at this point.
Oh no.
yeah.
It's in real rough shape.
Does Orson get to make a save?
Orson gets to remake the charisma saving throw, yes.
It's 1 die. No, 1 die. Thank you. That is a 13.
13 won't do it. He
With
is
his -3 charisma.
still compelled to murder all of you.
No, it's a saving throw, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a 17.
Oh, 17 will pass.
Because he's proficient in charisma saving throws.
As the screams fade away into echo around his ears, he reaches up and touches the blood coming out. He shrugs off the control and is no longer compelled to push Victor into a volcano. Although he can still do that if he wants.
Well, maybe when we're done.
Yeah.
He'll never be not compelled to do that.
That's Purple's turn. She cannot move anywhere. She still has Victor grappled. And who's next?
Let's see. After that, we've got, I believe, Evie with Ekon on deck. Yep.
Good news, Evie, you can sneak attack.
Yeah, we're killing her. I grant advantage to Victor, and we're both sneak attacking her. You have a reaction, right?
Yeah.
He's prone. He's doing it. This is a disadvantage, though.
I gave him advantage.
Right, but he has disadvantage still.
Yeah,
Oh.
so he doesn't get his.
You have disadvantage when attacking at melee range from
Being prone.
Being prone.
Okay.
He got knocked prone by the last shake up.
You can wait till I stand up and then do it.
No, I can't, because then I wouldn't be able to apply my thing. I mean, you could still do your sneak attack, but let's just both hit her and see what happens.
Okay.
Well, you could attack with the.
Does a 17 hit her?
17 does hit.
Oh, good news. I didn't roll a 1.
You could
does
attack.
does a 22 hit?
22 does hit.
Are you attacking her with the salt?
Just bludgeoning her with it.
Can use a psychic blade.
Okay, so she takes 23 points of magical piercing damage from me.
Ouch.
And then I guess she takes 20.
You don't
8.
get sneak attack.
You don't get sneak attack, Victor.
Even though
You
he's
get
right next to me.
disadvantage.
Yeah, disadvantage.
The cruel mistress.
I know, it's 11 points of psychic damage.
11 points is enough. As you stab the creature, you feel her grip on you subside. And again, she lets out this anguished cry. And then fades from view. And immediately, the room begins cooling off rapidly.
Victor drops the salt in that hole as soon as he can.
Okay?
And I patch up the brown note with mending.
If you had a few uninterrupted minutes, you probably could, but you're not going to have a few uninterrupted minutes. Because things
still
start
in initiative?
happening very, very quickly.
Okay.
No sooner does Victor put the salt into the final lesion, the evil fades away, and the place starts cooling rapidly.
Is this not the... Oh, we got that one. Sorry.
We got them all.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
them all. That was it.
The-
The shaking and writhing returns, and the irregular contracting, bucking and wheeling of the walls around you begins to accelerate.
I call for immediate extraction. Like we have a message stone. I use it. Get us out of here. Things are going.
We need to get to an orifice.
We're done.
We're done.
Okay?
What was the instructions we were giving?
To use the message stone, and they can pull you back out.
Yeah, okay. I use the message stone.
Okay?
As soon as everybody gets in the brown note, everybody in the rickety barrel.
Okay? And the message you receive in response is that Sedgwick is prepared to safely extract you as soon as you give him the signal that you are at a safe extraction point. For example, the place where you entered would be one such point.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna drag our ass back out of here.
I don't see a way to get back there without going through a room that the node is going to take damage.
Let me
Unless this is a
go
way
just-
out. Is this a way out? I guess we don't know.
Do we want to go exploring at this point?
No.
Okay, we can either go through the acid room or the squisher room.
If I'm sitting inside the brown note, can I be casting mending while everyone else is moving it?
You can, in the same way that a dinghy being thrown by the waves of the Pacific Ocean, you can technically bail water out of it with a bucket.
I guess let's go through the crusher room.
I think the crusher room is worse, honestly. Because
This
we'll-
room, because we've got this one slightly.
Yeah, we did break the things.
Yeah, we
this
did.
is the room where we we could go that way.
We're gonna go this way.
Okay,
Yeah.
works for me.
The good news is that pretty much every room that you guys are going through now is a crusher room, in some sense. The place
no.
that was predictable through most of your... gross, but predictable through most of your journey becomes less and less so, as Sedgwick has given you indication that Zack is showing signs of stirring for the first time in some months.
Can I use my... Is there any way I could use my spell slots to... I've got a few level 1 spell slots left. Can I use them to protect the brown note as we get out?
I mean, I'm imagining this like comic escape sequence where Genie and Ekon are feverishly using their magic in whatever capacity they can to keep this ramshackle jalopy together.
While everybody else pushes.
Right.
Yeah.
Meatball parade.
Right, let's get to this man's ass right now.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate everything about it.
It's just objectively what we have to do.
I guess
With
just see when to stop.
seconds to spare before the brown note shakes itself apart, the extraction is successful. And now I get to go back to immigrant.com and get the other map. That was the most exciting ass you guys have explored this week.
Let's not make it a
And
habit.
it's only the first day.
Here, let me get rid of all these extra dice and things first. Don't need any of those. It's always nice to see a fresh, orderly table after a long dungeon excursion. The extraction is, well, we won't go into detail, but
Good.
disorienting is a good word. As your general size is restored, no sooner than the jalopy around you kind of breaks to pieces. Much to, you can tell, Sedgwick's chagrin. That's two hard words to say that close together. Ray is sitting in his chair next to the bed, checking some of Zack Wheel's vitals with a stethoscope, testing his pulse. And Sedgwick begins asking about the mission. Were you
his-
successful?
Yes, his blood was haunted by a banshee.
Edmont's going through his possessions that he didn't take inside. He takes out his tobacco pouch and pipe, and he's like, "If anyone needs me, I'm going to be out on the terrace." And
Hey.
leaves the room.
Don't you
Evie
think we need...
immediately goes to take a shower.
I was going to say, we probably need a bath first.
I can just cast Create Water above all of us.
Right here in the bedroom?
Yeah, Zach will do it.
No, I'll go into the first adjacent room.
Victor
I'll
is going to
A
find
rain shower form of Create Water with all my remaining level 1 and 2 slots.
Victor is going to find Zack Wheel's private bathroom and take a shower in there.
I mean, he's got a chamber pot under his bed. You're going to take a shower in the man's chamber pot?
I don't
No,
recommend it.
We
His
already did
personal
that.
tub.
So you guys immediately disengage with the situation and go and rest and recuperate, yes?
Unless
Recuperate.
they say there's something else they need us for.
Not at the
Yeah.
moment.
Jeannie will give the report, so, and hang around if they need a hand.
Okay. Do you leave anything out of the report, or you just give a recount of pretty much the play-by-play?
Butt was haunted. We had to shoot it.
Well, I mean, you could have shot the butt from outside.
I mean, we didn't know the butt was haunted when we were outside.
At the mention of the room with the lava pool that you had seen, Ray's visage becomes much more dour as he thinks it over. So the material you're describing sounds like metal. There's no reason it would occur naturally inside of a man's body.
No. I mean, I can think of several reasons it would be there. Do you know if he was stabbed before he went down?
No. No signs of outward violence or attack.
I mean, he could have swallowed it. He could have, intentionally ingested it. I mean, we could just wait till he wakes up and ask him. I think this time I'm going to get answers from him, even if I have to bludgeon him back into unconsciousness.
Ray's worry now is that Zachiel won't wake up if this foreign object isn't removed. And he's pontificating on whether or not he's going to have to remove it surgically. Do you know whereabouts inside of the body cavity you found this particular room, is the word you use?
I'll give the best description of like where we were in relative whatever, but I'm not 100% sure like what body cavity. I'll describe that it was. I'll describe the large cavity with the metasphincter.
I'll tell you what. After a short rest, I might be able to use locate object to find it.
Do you advise Ray then to try to wait an hour?
I'll ask him if he does he think it?
Do we have an hour? Is he going to die if we don't?
He doesn't know.
Now?
Does Zachiel's look like he has improved, or is he getting worse?
It looks as though the haunting, as you put it, your words, not his, may have been dealt with, but he still has this foreign object in his gut somewhere that is doing him great harm.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, this mission was a success.
We need Ekon at this point.
If you advise them to wait an hour to try to assist in the surgery, they're happy to do that.
So, well, how about it? Like we take it, we tried it. We spend some time to try and find the object, and if we can't find it, Evie's resting.
Well, how are you going to find it without magic?
Well, I was going to say, like, do you think? I mean, I've described the location of where we saw it to the best of my ability. I don't know if that's good enough. I'm just assuming it's not.
Well, Sedgwick's going to have to perform exploratory surgery based on the directions you gave him. You know, you go in the butt, you take a left.
If I still have that 8 hours of dark vision, I can cast clairvoyance and put the sensor inside of him. I have a scroll of it.
So you can find the object from the inside?
Yeah.
And then try to advise...
The sensor is fixed, so they can move the body around it.
Would that work?
I have dark vision.
Also, Ekon is proficient in medicine.
Yeah, so once I find it, I can describe it pretty accurately, I would think.
I would say that's a step up from just describing how to get there as though you're traveling through the inside of him, but a step down from casting locate object.
Okay. Well, then just wait an hour. And,
yeah, I think. Okay, then yeah, we'll give it an hour.
We can
monitor him.
Can I use my remaining? I'm assuming. Okay. After they escape, do I have any spell slots left?
Unless you used any as you were leaving.
I mean, you said there was like a comical like us like bailing with a cup.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna make you use up all your unspent spell slots.
Can I
to match my comedic vision of my own D&D campaign that I've sabotaged?
You've done that to me before.
That doesn't sound like something I do.
Anyway, I'm going to spend the next hour basically casting. Basically, I'm going to cast all 3 Cure Wounds level 1 on him.
Okay.
Just to see if that, like, hey, if there's any damage being done, maybe we can buy a little time for Evie to have her short rest. Otherwise, what? No, Evie, you should. Didn't you get your spell slots back because you took that? You
didn't give me that.
Oh, I didn't.
I asked you to give it to me. You gave it to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got a bunch.
To me because catnap, because key points.
Yeah.
So Ray is spending the next hour preparing Zachiel for surgery, and Sedgwick is assisting him while anybody who wants to can go ahead and take the benefits of the short rests.
Okay.
I'm going to assist instead of taking a short rest. That is a 4 + 5. That's 9, 7, and 11 hit points.
Yeah, you're not doing the man any harm by dumping some Cure Wounds spells into him.
Right. I just figured
I can drop half a dozen healing words on top of that.
I think we should. I think.
Want me to actually roll those?
If you don't take a short rest, that means you can't have a shower.
Well, that's okay.
Genie literally does not care.
I mean, I'd rather make sure this man doesn't die.
Okay.
Jeannie's just happy to have some blood,
Every-
even if it's on top of her.
Every 10 minutes, since he knows it'll take an hour, Ekon can cast a healing word. Those generally restore about 8 hit points.
Okay.
And then at the end of that hour, Evie comes in with her spell focus, holds her magical lens over him, and casts Locate Object to try to locate any foreign metal objects inside Zachiel's body.
And with the benefit of Evie's not squeamish, is she? Like she can witness
She
this.
stabs people all the time.
Stabbing
She's been
somebody's a
eating a
little
bunch.
different than performing surgery.
I mean, she's good with knives.
Actually, maybe it's not. What is a stab if not just like really fast surgery?
Listen, Evie has been inside of a lot of creatures. She's fine.
Yeah, with locate objects, you manage to find this and almost imperceptibly small, maybe the size of a grain of rice, and Ray has to pull it out of Zachiel's chest cavity with a pair of tweezers, essentially. And there's a small clang sound as it hits the side of a metal pan that he's kept at his bedside. And he sets back to putting the organs back in place and sewing the man back up.
When you say putting the organs back in place, did he take them out during the process? Were they like sitting on a table next to him?
Oh, yeah, no, they had to move them aside and get in there, and surgery's gross, dude.
You played Surgeon Simulator, haven't you?
Evie's maybe not eager to repeat the experience, but she,
Doesn't
There.
puke.
no.
And with very little pomp or ceremony, the whole affair is over with. That's as much as anybody can do, he says. As he stitches the man back up,
I guess we
How
dumped
does he look now?
he looks the same, except now he's got a horrible scar across his chest where he's been recently stitched up from having his body cavity opened.
Can we dump you want to dump some more healing words on there maybe to help?
I'm
this
out
spell?
after that.
Oh, okay.
Victor is going to start exploring this man's abode as they all worry about his health.
Okay.
Jeannie will tell you to look for books, notes, that kind of thing.
And Victor will give you a thumbs up.
Are you gonna rob this man while he's here dying?
So
Depends what he's got.
Sedgwick and Ray are going to remain in the village for probably a couple more days while they monitor Zachiel's condition to see if he awakens or if he comes around or if he worsens, and despite all of their best efforts, they weren't enough to save him. Either outcome seems about as likely as this point. They would give the man a coin flip. So they're going to remain in the village for a couple of days. Is that the intention of you guys as well? You want to hang out here and poke around? Rob this poor
Hanging
guy?
around.
Victor
I
is
don't-
absolutely taking the time to explore his house and look for anything useful or interesting.
So to start with, let's go ahead and everybody can take the benefits of a long rest.
Neat.
There are plenty of guest rooms and other places. You could choose to sleep here in the tower. You could go out into the village and find commodities there. I don't think there was much in the way of like an inn in this town. This wasn't really a receiving travelers type of
They
village.
seem kind of unfriendly, honestly.
But you are known to the people here at this point. And your reputations precede you.
I mean, we did like burn down the gate and force our way inside a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was funny. So you can take the benefits of a long rest at whatever level of comfort you think is appropriate for yourself.
Edmont is making himself at home in Zachiel's domicile, but he's not, obviously robbing the man.
And for their part, his serving men and women are making you comfortable, but they do always seem to be keeping you at just about arm's length. They're very wary of the situation because they understand the service that you provided and that you technically are friends and allies with their master. But at the same time, Zachiel's not a man that receives guests and shares his quarters with people. So this is uncharted territory for everybody, but it's not an unpleasant stay. Let's go ahead and let's get just a general daytime action from everybody in the village over the course of the next day. Victor was going to see if the man had a library.
Pillage is a strong word, but yeah, we're gonna thoroughly explore his abode.
Nobody said pillage. Why did you?
Why did you say pillage?
He's going to pillage the library. That's why.
Victor, give me a perception check, please. I'm just trying to ignore Edgar, who's sitting outside of my door growling.
So base would be 18, 24 with the sounding die.
Well, without knowing whether an 18 passes or fails, do you want to use the psionic die?
Yeah, we're gonna go with the 24.
Okay. What is Jeannie doing on the morrow?
Jeannie is basically getting as much she's bothering Sedgwick and Ray, essentially.
Oh, I'm sorry, to backtrack just a bit. Victor, did you stay the night in the tower in one of the guest rooms?
Yeah.
All right. Jeannie, where did Jeannie stay the night?
We're in the tower.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's where Evie stayed.
Yeah, she would stay close at hand.
And you're just going to try to assist Sedgwick and Ray?
No, I'm bothering Sedgwick and Ray. I'm
Bothering
asking them. I'm asking them a bunch of questions about basically everything technologically related that they know about. Because
what
I
one
won't
thing are you trying to get an answer to?
what one thing am I trying to get an answer to? I'm gonna ask them if they know anything, if they have any leads on portals, essentially, or gateways to other realms.
Okay.
Like not other realms of Ravenloft. Like I'm describing like the phenomenon that was described to me by the Duke.
Okay. Where did Ekon spend the night?
I kind of would have spent like night in like the inn or whatever the equivalent is.
There's not really an inn in the village, but you'd be able to stay at one of the villagers' homes. They'd be happy to receive you.
Sure, yeah, he'll.
Basically, your three options are stay in the tower, stay in the village, or stay in the wilderness, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Go camping.
Yeah, he'd stay in the village then.
Okay. And how are you spending the next day?
The following day, I'm pretty sure what Ekon's going to do is he is going to. They don't need any like medical aid right now, right? Like, there's nothing I can really do on that.
Everything to be done for Zack Wheel has been done.
Right. At that point, then, what Ekon would want to do is just probably he's going to investigate anything interesting that's come out of the lake recently, like talk up the town and see what sort of things, like recent exploration or whatever, have trudged out of the bottom of the lake.
Give me a... By just kind of like asking questions?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what any of the skills are in this game anymore because we haven't played in 3 weeks.
Is investigation a skill
Yes,
still?
investigation. Thank you.
And I was gonna go do that with. I was gonna actually do something similar before.
Do you want to assist with this then?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then Ekon, you can make this an advantage. Edmont, did you also sleep in the village last night?
No, Edmont stayed in the in Zack Wheel's domicile.
Okay.
That's 20 on investigate.
And individually, bear with me just one moment. Individually, you cannot assist each other on these checks. I need an unrelated perception check from both of you.
That's a 29.
Okay. Edmont, how'd you do?
20.
And Evie, did you stay in the tower last night?
Yes.
And how are you spending the following day?
She is going to. You might recall that during the downtime, I had inquired from Sedgwick and Ray if they had discovered anything more about the mirror that we had in our manor. So I'm going to follow up on that, but tellingly, or importantly, perhaps, she asks about that when none of the other family members are around.
Okay. Victor. There are several rooms that the servants advise you should not be entered in Zakwheel's tower, and in fact are kept locked. The staff would have the key. Am I correct in assuming that Victor does not care about any of that?
You are absolutely correct to that assumption.
Okay. In one of the basement levels, you find a locked room, and upon picking your way in, you find it's a very small, very cramped sitting room. There's a cushioned chair sitting on a damp rug in the center of the room. And if you were to sit in the chair, your arms could reach out and touch either wall with your fingertips. One of those walls would be a very small wood-burning stove, currently empty and cold, the pipe of which leads up and out from the room. The left wall, however, is a pane of smoked glass. And wiping some of the soot and grime away from it, you realize on the other side of the glass is just darkness beyond. And it takes you a few moments before you realize that what you're looking at is some depths underneath of the water, as though the tower itself reaches directly down and out into the lake.
Interesting.
Other than his standard, like he's got his libraries and kitchens and stores and all of these things, this is the most interesting room you've found so far. The smell of the room is not very pleasant. It's very musty and moldy, as though it's frequently needs to be sloshed out.
And the rug is damp from what? Is there water coming in? Or?
There's no standing water in the room, but the rug is slightly damp. You're not sure from what source.
So with Victor's knowledge of surveying and navigation, can you kind of figure out roughly where in the lake would be on the other side of this so we can go diving later?
Because this basement room of the tower sits directly adjacent to some body of water, you would assume you'd have to go out into the lake and then find an underwater tunnel leading back towards the village. The entrance to that tunnel could be literally anywhere along the shoreline.
Sounds like Victor's got a plan then.
Okay.
He will go report his findings to Jeannie.
Evie.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any particularly useful follow-up about the mirror. And conversing with them, they're always interested to learn about things like this. Obviously, their research never actually ends, but they do have to prioritize certain research over others. And as far as they were concerned, the mirror is kind of in good hands. As I recall, you didn't complete the pin that you put into the circumstances at the end of things wasn't what they would have done, but they respected your choice. And as far as they're concerned, you are now the custodians of this incredibly deadly mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So they're happy to turn over any information that they do find, but so far they haven't been able to look into it. their attention is always dragging them towards things that are active dangers. For example, the local tower wizard falls into an unexplained coma for no reason. Has the mirror been acting up? Are there any updates that they you feel they should know about?
Nothing she's aware of. She is interested in how it was made.
That's anyone's guess. They were not able to pull up any. Originally, all they had found was a kind of a schematic for the mirror. It wasn't even a historical document about why it was made or who built it.
Would they feel comfortable sharing a copy of that schematic?
I thought they had. I thought one of you had copied it when they came to visit you.
Maybe Jeannie did. But if there isn't, then she requests one.
It's safe to say that if we hadn't specified they had done that when they were there previously, that's something you could have made. That's a request you could have made from them at the time. Mm-hmm. I think we can just go forward with the assumption that you have that information.
Okay.
It's not super useful information because none of you are practiced at the magics that are involved in the schematic, but... Mm-hmm. Jeannie, this idea of portals that lead to other places, but not places within, like Darkon or the adjoining realms, this sounds like whimsical fancy as far as they're concerned. There is no basis in science for anything that you're describing to them.
Well, Jeannie basically tells him something along the lines of, yeah, everything's impossible until you prove it isn't.
Can you prove that these portals exist?
I have a, well, for one, we came through...
You came through the mists.
Oh, okay, we came through the mist.
Mm-hmm. They're well acquainted with the mists. There's a great body of scientific knowledge about the workings of the mists.
I have, I basically explained to them that we have outside confirmation that such portals do exist here, because we do.
Okay.
And not just from the Duke, but we have also got credible information, because we were told, we asked Air, and Air was like, yes, portals to exist, it's just you don't have the means to get to them currently.
And choosing his words very delicately, Ray confides in you that he would not want to upset your cousin Ekon, but as far as he and Sedgwick are concerned, the words of your god are not considered scientific evidence in terms of their research.
I'm not saying that it should. I'm asking you if...
It sounds like you have a lot of hearsay about these magical doors, but no actual evidence.
Right. I'm searching for evidence.
And yeah, they'll let you know if they find any. They have heard tales of this madman that has built a long haul just inside of Evie's borders. They haven't visited because they haven't felt any particular need to. Are you telling them that they need to go talk to Darkwood? Is there something to be gained from that?
Yes, because that would be hilarious. Like, from a player's perspective, but like, from my perspective, that is a conversation I would like to be on the fly of the wall for.
I can imagine them getting through that conversation without aging 30 years.
But the other one is like, it won't hurt because he is basically he's a powerful magic user from an entirely different realm of like creation, so talking with him might prove useful in some other way. So yeah, if you want to go talk to him, I would suggest you go for it.
Well, the only reason they would is at your recommendation. Like, you're basically putting your reputation on the line with them. Like, if they go and it's a waste of time and they don't get anything useful out of Darkwood whatsoever, that's going to change their appraisal of Jeannie going forward as a woman of science.
I mean, it's like,
Darkwood is not going to offer them any evidence or support. He's going to say he's right, and they should just take his word for it.
yeah. Jeannie will basically, like, yeah, she'll basically say that. But, like, Sedgwick and Ray are obviously, like, their understanding of, like, the hard sciences is at a level higher than Jeannie's, right? Like, Jeannie is willing to admit that. Like, she's kind of come to the conclusion that, like, there are different levels, and while where we're from is not on the bottom, we're not at the top either, right? Like, you know, like we have things like electricity and stuff like that, and she kind of, like, she would, like, these are all like things she would explain, like, you know, like where I'm from, like, we sit about here, so, like, that's why she's reaching out to them, like if you like, I'm trying to learn, essentially, is what she's saying. She does caution them that she thinks that Darkwood is telling the truth, and that he has information to offer, but also cautions them and saying that but she's not sure what the chances are that Darkwood would not just say, "I'm right. You should just listen to me because I'm the Duke." So
Ray's advice on that comment is that truth is a very dangerous thing to look for in these situations, because malice is not the only reason a man would speak a mistruth. There is also delusion. But yes, that your recommendation, if you give one, they do agree to visit Darkwood's Long Hall to see what could be gleaned.
like
Ekon and Edmont.
Yeah.
Work on dredging the lake has slowed and then stopped. For a couple of days after Zack fell ill, the work continued as various tasks that he had directed were being completed, and they tried to make some good educated guesses about what other tasks he might have set before them. But eventually the work stopped without his direction. At your discretion, though, one of the workers would agree to bring the two of you into the warehouse towards the edge of town where some of these artifacts are dredged up and kept.
Sure.
Yeah.
The inside of the warehouse is, first of all, the smell of it is awful. The smell of rot and just the musty salt smell of the sea permeates the whole building. It's filled with driftwood and piles of seaweed and all kinds of detritus. It looks just like a junkyard. Thousands and thousands of items. I mean, we've all seen hoarders. We know how this goes. But they insist that these are all objects that were dredged up out of the lake at Zack discretion, that he has told them to store here until further direction. Until further orders.
Yeah.
Going through it, maybe one item in 10 is intact, and there's no limit to what you can find here. Furniture, cutlery, old weapons, bits of construction, all kinds of clothing, pieces of armor. No small amount of magic either as you're going through. Almost all of them are just minor enchantments, things like an enchantment to change the color of an object or change its size slightly or make it slightly resistant to rot or decay. These are kinds of things that you might see commonly where you're from.
I see.
But nothing. Does he? And I'll ask, like, do they Are there more powerful items in this, or items that he was specifically interested in that he pulled out from this pile, or is this pile like stuff that's been yet to be investigated?
Zack Wheel comes through and picks over things. Sometimes he goes through the new take. Sometimes he goes through pallets outside the warehouse before they're cataloged and moved in here. Sometimes he goes all the way to the back through the oldest piles of junk. And from time to time, he takes things for himself back to his tower.
Maybe we should. Never mind. I won't say anything.
But yeah, the you're known to these workers, and the word out in town is that you have come here to bring Zack Wheel back to health. And so these workers are convinced that this investigation is part of curing his ailment, whatever it may be. Which is why they're letting you in. But as far as useful or powerful magic objects, like if you spent the entire day rooting around in here, you might find something of value, but do either of you take anything out of the warehouse?
No.
No, I'm just curious as to once we've done our once over, I'll go to my brother and say, "Do you think might be? What do you think he might be keeping the stuff that he does keep on his premises?"
I mean, I would guess anything more powerful than that is probably in a warehouse or in a storeroom. Like Victor is probably looking for anything like that.
I mean, you're probably
Also, I'm not really here to rob him. I'm more trying to figure out exactly what's going on with the lake itself, and if there's anything here that might have caused this.
Where's this conversation taking place? Inside of the warehouse?
Yeah, but in Ferniskin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Around midday.
Yeah.
As you guys are stepping out of the warehouse. Independently, you become aware that as you've been traveling through the village, you're pretty sure you're being shadowed. Somebody has been following you.
Do we confront, brother? I'll follow your lead on this.
I mean, can you get behind them and make them not aware that we're aware of them?
Yeah, if we can misdirect them, I can go invisible and then try and circle around them. Yeah.
I will. Let's call that a. I wouldn't even call for a deception check here. Because you're not trying to mislead somebody. Ekon is just trying to lead them. So Edmont, you're trying to circle back around and come up from behind? Keeping tabs on the person? Okay, so that's going to require a stealth check versus their perception. Ekon, where do you lead your tail to?
Someplace out of the way. Is there a place I can think of in the village that I think that they might not, that people wouldn't be around?
There are a couple of bolt holes in and around, especially maybe on inside of the northern wall or so, where there are fewer houses. Because remember, the wall's not particularly well manned at any point. So yeah, just outside of the shadow of the northern wall might be a good spot.
Yeah, that would work.
At the 28 on stealth.
28. Edmont, you get as close to this person as you like without them noticing. You can tell that they're a little frazzled because they've lost sight of you, but they're still following Ekon as Ekon is leading them to the north. They're wearing, strangely enough, you notice that they're wearing a ragged traveler's cloak. But underneath it, as they're walking and moving, you can tell that they have a much nicer set of clothes on underneath than you would expect from the peasantry in a village like this. And you see flashes of bright red color that they're trying to hide underneath this heavy cloak from time to time. What do you do with this person?
Can I put a knife to his throat?
Put a knife to the throat? Yeah, you can, absolutely.
Yeah. I will absolutely do that and say, you know, friend, it's really dangerous to tail people, especially nobility like this.
And the woman gasps as you put a knife to her throat. She stops, fans her hands out in front of her. If you're going to do it quickly. And when she speaks in Ferniscan.
Edmont actually draws the blade away from her neck when she speaks of Ferniscan and is like, "Where did you learn that language?" And he asks in Ferniscan.
What is Ekon's response? Because Ekon, she's following. I guess it's up to you how far back you want her, but I mean, you could tell this altercation is happening behind you as you're approaching the wall.
Gee, what would Ekon do? I mean, I'm pretty sure he can handle himself. Like, I don't actually think he's a threat, probably, right now. So I'm just gonna kind of turn around and make sure that she's aware that I have seen this, but I'm not gonna say or do anything yet.
Okay, so she's aware that you've turned around, but I mean, her attention is focused on Edmont because he got right up next to her and pulled the knife.
Yeah, no, I'll take the knife away from her neck and say, "Where did you learn that language?"
At that, she draws one of her arms aside, pulling aside the traveler's cloak, and underneath you can see that she's wearing bright red vestments, emblazoned with a sigil that you recognize as the Hand of Fire. And she tells you that the high priests, Chrisen, taught it to her, as he does all of his disciples.
Where is this
Hello.
high priest Chrisen?
Aw. Is it just like a natural reaction of followers of air to start cults?
Apparently.
Well,
Seems
this
that way.
guy's done it before, to be fair. This is just what he does.
You ask where he is, and she shakes her head. She says, "I was sent here to cast unbelievers into the fire, not answer their questions."
I have no stomach for fire this day, so either you can leave us be in peace, or Edmont just looks down at the dagger in his hand.
She looks at you warily. As though she doesn't understand why you're sparing her. And she says that she will go, but there will be peace for no heretics. Not while she draws breath.
Tell your high priest this, to stay out of our way.
And that she backs away from Edmont, casts one more glance in Ekon's direction, and then swiftly moves away from you.
So I wonder if she was talking about us or the village.
I think everyone. They just want to burn everybody. They're just psychos.
Brother, this is concerning, is it not?
I'm sure they have it specifically out for us, but they wouldn't.
Kristen's known where we are pretty much the whole time we're here.
Yeah.
Did he make
well,
it to the village
had-
with you guys?
I don't
no,
know.
He did not.
I can't
He did
remember.
No, we let Kristen go. Like
I don't remember if
originally.
he. I guess I don't remember if he left before or after we reached the castle.
He left right before we left the halfling village. Is when he left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he wasn't with us when we came to our duchy. But he's probably heard about us. We have reputations, and I'm sure he's not happy that Ekon has started in Church of Air, teaching what he would consider to be heretical beliefs.
Okay.
Well, I think our family ought to know of this, and should probably,
So I'll reconvene back at the tower.
yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break there. Because if I have to listen to Edgar scratching and growling anymore, I'm going to actually go insane. Like, for real insane. So why don't everybody go ahead and...
working a little bit there.
Get your coffee, get your bagel. Let's reconvene at about 4:10.